Hello. Um, so I just wait a little while for everyone to join. We've got Kiko right at the start here. She recognised it was going to be the start of a live stream, and she came up. Where are you going? You need to come here. It's actually still light here. Which this felt like the first nice day of the year where the sun shone, and it was a very light evening, so that was pleasant. I hope everyone's well. I've been very busy, so I'll just wait for people to arrive, as always. Let me see if I can find something on here. Hi to Little Unicorn. Hope you're well. Yeah, so I was just reading through a third world document before I have had a very nice Easter. I hope you have too. Hi to Topsy Turvy. Yeah, so just hi to Nana as well. Hi to Claire. Yes, we're both well. Kiko's found some remnants of potato salad that she's gone to lick up now, so she's good. Hi to Christopher. Hi to Michael. Yes, I was just mentioning I was just reading one of the documents from Third World before, and it was the yeah. Can I just say, because Kev's actually referenced something again. I'm really sorry to fans of Liverpool that I've picked another live stream, as I did with the last live stream where Liverpool are playing. It wasn't deliberate, and I do apologise. I don't really have that much time to keep up with football now, so I don't follow the fixtures that much. So it never occurred to me. I'm very sorry, but given Liverpool's recent form, you might want to skip the game this evening. But we'll see how it goes. Yes, I was just reading this. There's a third world document that is essentially the final document from a grievance. Dr. Chris Green writing his conclusions. So I got about 2/3 of the way through it, and yeah, the sad thing is that in July 2016 they were making provisions and making arrangements to have supervised practice for Lucy, so she'd be supervised on the unit, and that didn't happen due to a lack of staffing that's mentioned in the document. And basically, if she had been supervised, I probably wouldn't be sat here now. None of you would be sat here now, because she would have been supervised on the unit. They were downgraded. None of this would have happened, probably. More than likely, very likely, in fact. I know these consultants opposed to having supervised practice, but if they could have put it in place for her and she could have stayed on the unit at that time, although that would have been a little bit humiliating for her in a way, she probably never would have faced criminal charges. So, yeah, tragic. But I mean, that's all in the past. Now it's all water under the bridge. We just got to look forwards. So hello to John, hello to Karen. I am well, Karen. Hope you are too. Hello to Mark, hello to Val, hello to Casbar, hello to Joanna. Yeah, my hay fever's absolutely fine. It's really strange, but in the months when there's a high pollen count and you think I'd be ill, I'm usually fine. It's just the first week when pollen starts to be produced, my body just responds to that very strongly. And I just guess this really unfortunate period. It was better this year than it has been previously because I've prepared for it. So yeah, I'm absolutely fine now. Hello to Key to Confidence. Hello to Kev. Hello to Gwyneth. Glad you can be here. Hello to Margaret. Hello to Piers, and hello to Kia. I can't pronounce that. Let's just say Kia. Hello to Shell as well. Yeah, so I'm glad people enjoyed watching the video I posted today. I haven't done one of those for a while, and I needed to find something that was relatively easy to record. One of the things about doing YouTube is that the visuals actually take quite a long time to produce. It's why sometimes people say you should do shorter videos or make some shorter videos. But ironically, the shorter videos take longer to make because if you need to weave together lots of different images, you have to create all the images, and that's really what takes the time. It's not the recording time. The recording time can be relatively minimal, regardless of whether it's for a short video or a long video. It's just really putting the material together and doing the prep that takes a bit of time. So yeah, I'm glad people enjoyed that one because I haven't done one like that for a while, and I haven't had time to go out and shoot any more footage anywhere nice that I've been because I haven't been anywhere really. I did go to Birmingham recently, but it wasn't really suitable. Saturday afternoon, it wasn't really suitable for filming. I'll hopefully do some soon. We'll see, but I felt a lot of people wouldn't have seen the previous footage. So, hello to Yelda, hello to Shell. I think I said already. The thermal inquiry is a sham, really. Lucy's conviction is clearly unsafe. Why have the thermal inquiry until that is all sorted out? A good question, House of Dragon. I think that there's a certain pressure. Oh, before I go any further, if anyone wants to post this on Facebook and stuff, please do. I just never get around to doing it. So yeah, if someone wants to post on Facebook that there's a live stream, because it can easily pass people by. Yeah, in terms of why thermal are continuing, it would require someone with courage to go back to the state and say to the state, right, we can't continue because this just doesn't make any sense at this point. It could be that there's discussions going on behind closed doors. We don't know whether this is the case or not. But usually the people that are elevated and promoted into these positions are compliant by their very nature, as I was saying the other day. So Lady Thirlwell's not one to, rock the boat. It's just not the nature of people that get put in these positions. So she probably just thinks, right, I've been asked to do something, I will now try and do it. But at the same time, she must realize that she's now in a very difficult position. It's very difficult to predict exactly what will happen. Objectively, they shouldn't continue, but then objectively, they should have listened to people before they started. So it's very hard to see what will happen. All the indication that we've been given is that they're going to continue. They say they're going to publish the recommendations. Of course, these recommendations are worthless and even dangerous, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen. It would be kind of nice for me if they didn't do anything for a few months, because then I don't have to bother including it in my book. If they were to release all the recommendations, I mean, theoretically, I should cover that, which would be difficult given that I've only got a few weeks until I have to sign it off. So I'm kind of hopeful they just dilly-dally around and then release something after the deadline's gone. That would help me quite a lot, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure helping me is not high on the list of priorities. The filming in your video today was lovely. The walk, scenery, snow, and lovely Woof, who looks rather like my son's dog, who is also very clever. Yeah, that's great. Keeks is a very intelligent dog. So, I mean, if anything, she's too intelligent because it's hard to pull the wool over her eyes. She works things out too quickly. Like, recently, when there's a day I have to have a cleaner for my house because otherwise it would be shambolic. I mean, I've had to accept during this period of very hard work that it's not going to be tidy. And I love to have a tidy house, but that's just not possible at the moment. But I'll do a bit of tidying before my cleaner comes, and Keeks has worked out that means the cleaner's coming. So she just waits by the door for my cleaner because cleaner brings her like treats and brings her dog bones and stuff. So she sets up she has a vigil, and she's like, "When's the cleaner arriving? When's the cleaner arriving?" So she really does pick up on things very, very astutely. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the filming. It's always I always like to be in the countryside and do a bit of filming when I'm out there. Hi to Bernie. Hi to Frosty Robot. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well too. What's the footage, Castleton? Yeah, a lot of it is Castleton. Some of it is on the outskirts of Matlock, and there's a bit in Croatia today as well. The various locations in Croatia. Hi to Mervyn. Third inquiry dropped a big file today, the full grievance report. So yeah, I've been discussing that a little bit. I got 2/3 of the way through reading it, and there are a few interesting aspects to it. I might actually cover that in a video soon because I did do a little bit of Lucy's grievance procedure previously, and I've done the start. I could do the end, and then I could fill in the middle at some point in the future. So I think that would be that would be an interesting thing to do. I do think it's interesting that we only just received this final document from Lucy's grievance. I noticed that on the title page that they have for Thirlwall, they didn't tell us the date that was submitted. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't have been submitted months or even years ago, which would beg the question of why it's only being published now. And I've obviously had this question about numerous documents from the Thirlwall inquiry. One can only imagine why they've done what they've done. Do you have a membership to the trial podcast? No, I don't. I've managed to download quite a few of them, and I managed to hear quite a few of them. A lot of them are from during the trial. I don't know that there's that much value in listening to those. If I find an episode that I think, well, this would be quite illuminating and quite interesting to look at, then I'll have a look at them. But I'm not a completist. I mean, I don't rate the podcast, obviously, so I'm not bothered about going back and listening to every episode. But I've kind of hoovered up most of the important ones. Of course, there's been Sandy Bohan one recently. Now, I may respond to that, but I've read through it. I know what was said. I may respond to it. I may not. I'll just wait and see. There's a few things to consider, but I don't like to look at every single Liz Hall podcast because a lot of them are just going over what happened in court and worshipping the court system. We already know that she worships the court system, so I don't really see what we gain from looking at that. Hello to Christine, nice to see you again. Why have Thirlwall dropped the documents at different time intervals? Why weren't they all there from the start? A very good question, as I was just talking about. Now, I'm willing to cut them some slack and say that it's possible that some of the documents genuinely didn't arrive until later on. It is a big job to draw together all these documents, and I think we should acknowledge and recognise that. However, it seems to me that the grievance, considering they've got every other document from a grievance or numerous documents from a grievance, it seems very likely to me that this document has been available for a long time and that it should have been published a long time ago. I see no reason why not. So I don't really have a good answer to your question. Obviously, we can have suspicions about why, but it's up for them. It's up to them to answer, really, if indeed they can be bothered. Good video today, Chris. I think it was a get it off your chest moment for you. Well, as I say, I just thought, well, I haven't done one of these for a while, and they're relatively easy to record. And I even solved the problem that I had with the jerky video, which was a minor miracle. But yeah, I'm learning bits and pieces as you go along. But yeah, I thought, well, I feel I can speak honestly now about everything. So, I never like to get into political stuff too much. It's not. I don't wish to have a political platform or anything like that. But I do think it's legitimate to talk about why this is so important. It's obviously important for Lucy, and it's obviously we want Lucy to be exonerated. And absolutely, I believe she's innocent. Of course, I do. I mean, I think I've made that very clear. but I do think it feeds into many other issues and areas of interest, and I do think they're relevant. I suppose one thing I didn't mention in that video was that the current geopolitical climate is rather exacerbating all these issues as well. So, yeah, I felt there was a few things that were worth discussing, and I try and do that in an even-handed way, but I thought it was fair game. Hi to DIMX. Good evening. Hope you're good. I enjoyed the video today. Well, it was great, very relaxing. Glad you enjoyed it. I like to go to these places. I went somewhere. I wish I'd filmed up there. I went to this place in North Yorkshire, and I went there when it was. I think during I must have been the latter days of lockdown. I can't remember when it was exactly, but there still weren't a lot of people around, and you can literally see as far as it's possible for the eye to see every direction. So 10, 15 miles. And when I was up there wasn't a single car on the road. There wasn't a single person. It was the most peaceful place I've ever been to. And it was extraordinary. We camped there and you didn't see a soul. And that was pretty amazing. So I wish I'd filmed that, but I didn't. But I do like to get up there in the hills and in the countryside and enjoy that aspect of the country. Given all the problems we have, we might as well make the most of the good bits. I challenged Dr. Evans to sit with the world experts in a live debate to tell them how they're wrong. Well, he just couldn't do this. He couldn't have a live debate with me. Never mind with the world experts. Like, you saw what happened when I challenged him. I asked him, and the thing is, I couldn't have been more courteous. So he could easily have granted me an interview if he thought he could. He knows he can't defend what he's done. He knows very well. So the idea that he could sit in there with a world-class experts in a live debate, I think it's highly doubtful that he would be called by the prosecution in the Court of Appeal. Because I thought at one time he had to appear, but it seems now that he doesn't necessarily have to appear. So if the prosecution have any choice, they almost certainly won't call him because he's a complete liability. So we probably won't ever hear him have to justify what he's done, which is lucky for him. But other things that are going to happen may not be as lucky for him. But there's no prospect he could debate with world-class experts. Post Office Horizon doc still coming out, so nothing different. I didn't know that, but that's not hardly surprising, is it? Hardly surprising. Just die. Oh, of course, yeah. I'll call you Die from now on. Do apologise. Lovely to catch you live, Chris. This is Julia. Hope you're keeping well. Yes, the countryside filming was lovely. I'm really glad people enjoyed that. I'll try and get out there and do some more. When my book's signed off and I've got a little bit more time, I do think I owe myself to have a few days out and stuff. So I'll try and do some more spots round and about. Maybe even some cities at some time. I spent quite a bit of time in London, and again, I should have done filming. It's not easy because there's so many people, but yeah, it'd be quite cool to do some sightseeing videos in London, maybe. Hi to the Objective Thinker. Christine, I live in a cottage too. I overlook the sea on Jurassic Coast in Chiddock in West Dorset. It sounds amazing. I bet it's beautiful. Chris, would you not say that Gary Evans should be held accountable for giving incorrect expert advice? Was he ever going to be held to account? I've put this on my list of questions for a future Q&A, but I'll obviously answer this now as well. It's a difficult question to answer. I can't say that. We have to assume that this gentleman wouldn't have been as objective as possible. With the right. So sorry, I'm getting slightly mixed up here. So do you mean Gary Evans? Because someone asked me a question about this guy at the CCRC. I thought his name was Gary Evans, but I don't think it was now. So if you assuming for the sake of argument, you mean Dowie Evans, of course, he should definitely be held accountable. It's there's no doubt that he shouldn't have been in the court case. Absolutely no doubt. Once the judge had received that letter, the judge should have thrown him out of the court case. Simple as that. So he wasn't destined to be held to account because, as it turned out, the police were not going to get other experts, and the criminal justice system. I mean, I think it's a joke. I've said this in a recent video, haven't I? That the judge is there to preside over the court case. For him to say, "Oh, the jury can make the decision about whether Evans is, a suitable expert or not," that surely, if that is anyone's decision, that's the decision of the judge. The experts are supposed to arrive in court as experts, and then the jury is very reliant on their evidence. So to say to the jury, you have to decide whether this guy's a legitimate expert or not, to me is an absolute joke. I hope that he'll be held accountable, and I hope that he'll be held accountable in his lifetime. That's all I can say. He certainly should be. Can't wait for your book that I've pre-ordered. Thank you. I mean, I'm obviously looking forward to it coming out. It's 3 months tomorrow. It may seem like a while for you guys, but I'm sure it'll fly by for me. I saw on another channel a statement analysis of Brewery at Thirlwall. It was very interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do something like that in the future. I've got a big list of topics, and I've got a Word document. I've got all the topics I could cover, and one of them is to go through various Thirlwall interviews, which I've not really done too much. Obviously, I've interspersed bits and pieces, but it would be interesting to do stuff like that. There's so much to cover. I mean, hopefully I won't have to go on for years and years and years, but I could, and I will if I need to. But I want this to be resolved before then. I mean, as I was talking about in the video that I've posted today. They've interviewed, so referring to the Mail podcast, they've interviewed Sandy Bowen. I think it's members only, but I've got a transcript, so it's not a problem. I may address that in the future. We'll have to wait and see. We love you, Chris. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. How do we pre-order the book? So I'll put the link in the chat. Just bear with me. Where's the thing? There we go. So I've put the link in the chat to pre-order my book. It's Cinto Press. You can pre-order it from there. Or of course, if you just look it up if you prefer to order it from Amazon, you can look it up on Amazon, and it's on the UK Amazon at the moment. Yeah, I may respond to Bohin, Deb. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on a few things. Hi to Paul. Hi to Peter. Hi, I'm late. Couldn't decide what pasta sauce to buy. Morrison's. Good evening. Yeah, it's always a difficult decision. Food decisions are always the hardest, particularly if you're hungry. I'm lucky that I just love eating, so it's not a problem for me. But I do like to make a bolognese sauce myself and make carbonara, make 3 cheese sauce. I do love pasta, but as I say, I just like eating. Hi to Drips. You're doing an absolute top job. Appreciate that. Appreciate all the support. It's been mind blowing. Can't wait for you to be able to read the book as well. It's important for us all. Any of us could be Lucy being blamed for something you've not done. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons this is so important, that this can happen to anyone. It will happen to people again in the future. It could happen to another nurse. It is indeed very, very important to address this for that reason. It's very clear to me that you're not guaranteed a fair trial in this system, and that's obviously very worrying, to say the least. Hi to Jane. You're doing great in life, Chris. Well done. Thank you, Jane. I really appreciate that. And Drips, you are the absolute beast, Lucy Letby. You're doing God's work. Well, thank you. I mean, I don't know if I said this in a video recently, but I was thinking about, I know I reference The Simpsons a lot, But there's an episode in the first season where Bart's got a test, and he prays to God at the end of the episode. Says, "Please, I'm not going to pass this test. You've got to do something." And then the next day, the Springfield's covered in snow, and so he's off school, and he sees all the other kids running out to play in the snow, and he's just going out the door. And Lisa stood by the door, and Lisa says to him, "You owe God for this day. You've got to go and study." And all this, and he says, "You're right," and he goes back and studies, and he scrapes through the test. And for me, I didn't pray, and I didn't even ask for the universe, and I don't know what I believe about the universe, but I'm interested in it, and I've read books about it and so forth, and spirituality, and I'm interested, but I'm more of a rationalist, I suppose. But when I found out about Lucy's case, I just wanted to be able to help. I mean, it became very obvious to me very quickly that this was an unsafe conviction. I just thought, I'm not willing to sit on the sidelines. I want to be able to do something and help. So many unjust things happen in the world, and most of the time we do nothing. I mean, or can't do anything, as I've discussed previously. But I just thought I want to be able to help, and I want to be in a position where I can do something. And that wasn't a prayer, but figuratively speaking, my prayers have been answered. So, like Bart, I now have a responsibility to act on what has happened. So it's absolutely given that I now am in a position of relative prominence, I suppose, it's absolutely incumbent on me to give everything that I've possibly got. So that's what I'll do. His usual arrogance shone through when answering your questions, Chris. Yeah, I mean, he just embarrassed himself, but I really don't see why he couldn't just say, "I don't wish to give any interviews. Thank you for your time. Good luck with your book," or whatever, or indeed nothing at all. It doesn't do him any credit to be behaving in this way, to have such public conduct. I would never say anything rude to anyone else. I'm in control of my emotions, and I'm not a discourteous person anyway. So, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for him, but I mean, he's embarrassed himself so many times by this point. Does it even matter anymore? Why do the media ignore the fact that Cheshire Police has not commented on the Ravi Jairam perjury allegations? So I guess that the news, the press, they're always very much news driven. So it's news when someone says we're going to refer Ravi Jairam to Cheshire Police, but it's not news when nothing happens. So they can't really say nothing. Yet again, nothing has happened. They may reference it at some point, but it's difficult for them to make an outright story on the fact that nothing has happened, and nothing will happen. Cheshire Police will never investigate this because they'd be destroying themselves, and they're just acting in self-interest. So you'll never hear anything about this. There's absolutely no chance. Hi to Reflective. Good to have you here. The more I find out and the deeper I dig into the Lucy Letby case, the more I realise that she's been stitched up. Are they covering up some kind of DEI hiring scam leading to a fall in standards? It's very difficult for me to comment on this. I've always taken the view that, I mean, I can't really say that Lucy was deliberately targeted. It's just not possible for me to say that. I can't prove it. It's really impossible for me to comment on your remarks. I know why people feel strongly about this, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I can only discuss what I can prove, and I can't prove any intent behind the way she was treated on the unit. So I never say things that I can't prove. It's just not possible for me to do that. So I can't really answer those questions, unfortunately. Hi to Sarah. Hello from New Zealand. Nice to have you here as always. Do you have any updates on any progress at the CCRC? No. Sadly, no one does, because they don't tell anyone anything. They don't even tell the defence anything. So all we know is that they're dragging their feet and we've not heard anything back. But I did know that this process could go well into this year and towards the end of this year. That's what I was told. So I'm hoping they do something soon. There's absolutely no justification for them not to send this back to the Court of Appeal. It would be farcical, embarrassing if it wasn't sent back. It needs to happen sooner rather than later. Naturally, the aim of writing my book is to try and outline to people why this is so unjust, and to outline to people that this is, it's a chronically unsafe conviction, and it should be addressed as quickly as possible. And hopefully that can increase the pressure. I know the Sun newspaper are doing more stuff. I know other media is doing more stuff. There's going to be more stuff coming soon. They need to get their arse into gear, no doubt. They're all abusers in some form, except Lucy and the band are defenders. Yeah, it does seem that way. Chris, do you feel that Judge Goss was biased himself? Because I'm thinking that more and more. So again, we have to assume good faith behaviour in Judge Goss. He's a professional judge. I'm sure that he takes his role seriously. So I can't say that he was biased. I think the word that I would rather use is complacent. I think there was a degree of complacency about the system. Of course, it's a very self-serving view, but people in the system, the legal system, generally think that it's great. So it's similar to any profession. So they don't have that inbuilt thinking of, should we question things? They're the opposite. They're always thinking, our system's great. I've been through so many court cases, etc., etc. So I think he just thought there's been a process. It's the usual process. This is what we usually do. Blah blah blah. The jury's found her guilty. There's nothing else to say here. And they don't see all of the problems with what happens. I think a lot of things that we consider to be, outrageous or poor at best, in reality, they probably happen in a lot of court cases. A lot of the Johnson trying to attack the defendant probably happens in every court case or most court cases. So it just kind of washed over Judge Goss, and he just thought, oh yeah, I've seen this a million times before. I mean, he's 70 years old. I don't know when he was accepted as a judge, but he must have been doing this for years. I mean, I don't mean to be ageist or anything, but now he's gone on to this new role in overseeing the IOPC or something. I mean, do these people ever retire? What about getting some people who are of under pensionable age in some of these positions, I know I'm heading that way myself, and I'll be in that position one day, and I don't want to be put out to pasture or anything, but does he really need to have any more jobs at this stage of his career? I mean, surely he's financially secure. I just think a lot of it is they're just so enamored with the system, they just can't see the wood for the trees. But that's just my opinion. I really don't know for sure. Well done, Chris. Great videos. A video 2019 interviews were repetitive and designed for her to make a mistake. Yeah. I mean, it's something. I mean, it's a genuine technique of the police to ask you questions numerous times, and sometimes that's legitimate. The problem with the police interviews in this case is that because they didn't do their due diligence, and because they didn't follow the protocol, and because they didn't do all the things they're supposed to do as a competent police organisation, constabulary, they went into the interviews thinking that Lucy Letby was guilty. Paul, you've heard Paul Hughes, or you've heard my recount of Paul Hughes saying that himself in the Daily Mail podcast. He decided basically that Lucy was guilty. So the questioning very much reflects their attitude. Really, they weren't going into it with an open mind. They were going in, and of course, they'd only ever investigate one possibility. So when you add those three things up, they didn't have an open mind. They ballsed up the investigation, didn't do due diligence. They never looked at anything else. When they're actually interviewing Lucy, they're not really interviewing her to find out information as they claim or have claimed. They're just trying to build a case against her. And that's why they have this bizarre fixation, this kind of, I would say, brain-dead, asinine fixation with the idea that Lucy's going to be able to explain everything that happened on the unit. As I just showed you in the Child A video, everything Lucy said in that interview was correct, basically. I mean, she actually did an extraordinary job. It would have been a great interview in less pressurized circumstances, but given the fact they've just scooped her out of her house and stuck her in a cell, and she knows she's facing potential life sentences, and she must be in a terrible mental state, it's utterly extraordinary. I mean, she got everything spot on. She couldn't have been more accurate in a description of what happened on the unit. And of course, they took none of that into consideration whatsoever. Lucy, in fact, gave them a perfect explanation. And you know, I know for a fact the police should have followed up on what Lucy had said because of what's been in the reports now from the panel. The panel have written reports. So if they'd actually followed up on what Lucy had said, they may have actually discovered what happened to Child A, because the panel cited everything that Lucy said, and everything Lucy said is in the documents. It'll be in the medical notes. And if they'd actually gone into it with an even remotely open mind, they might have said, "Hold on a second, we need to investigate what Lucy's saying." But they didn't. They didn't go into it with an open mind. So that kind of explains why the interviews were conducted and unfolded the way that they did. Yeah, I agree with your comments there, Cool Cat, but I can't read that out loud. Wayne, do you think, Chris, that Dowie heard the 2018 interviews and directed the police? I can't really say, but what I can say is in the police documents, it does say that the police, Cheshire Police, recognise and acknowledge the Dr. Evans could help them with the interview of the defendant. This is way before they've even decided they're going to interview her. So I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it's a possibility. Oh yes, Common Sense Guru. I left a comment for it on Anna Milan's testimony that seemed very rehearsed. She said she would have a look at it. So I haven't been able to watch these videos by Common Sense Guru. I've heard they're very good. I can't really comment about Anna Milan, whether or not she was rehearsed, but all we know is that what she said was wrong. In a way, it doesn't matter whether it's rehearsed or not because it was wrong. So why she gave the court incorrect information, I don't know. The first answer Lucy gave the police in interviews was a warning about neglecting no IV fluid to baby A, and they did not investigate that. Exactly. I mean, I've just said that. You didn't know I was going to say that, but exactly. I mean, they could have actually. Lucy basically gave them. Here's what happens. I mean, she actually did it for Child A. She can't be expected to do it with every infant, but she gave them on a silver platter. She handed it to them like that. There you go, police. That's what happened to Child A. And they made no effort to look at anything, and then they just repeated what they repeated the line of questioning in court time and time again because they're incompetent, because they're stupid. And I make no apologies for calling them stupid. I've called them stupid numerous times. They very obviously are stupid. It's possible they're intelligent people working in Cheshire Police. The problem is that they'll be marginalised because intelligent people usually are in these organisations. And it's worse if you have stupid people in prominent positions. Like if Cheshire Police were a corporation, they would have collapsed because they never compete. If they were in the market system with those people at the top in key positions, and Simon Byrne as well, I think his name's Simon Byrne, he was being investigated for gross misconduct in 2017, when or just shortly afterwards when Tony Chambers from the hospital wrote to him. Now he was cleared, I must emphasise, but obviously that's not a great look for Cheshire Police either. So yeah, if they were running like BMW or something, they'd be a total disaster. They couldn't do it, but because they're given the power to run the police, they're allowed to do whatever they want, pretty much. Hi to Melanistic Marble. Good to have you here, as always. Are there any Labour grandees speaking up in support of Lucy? It seems to be mainly Tory elder statesmen. Why do you think that is? I've not seen anyone on the political left, in terms of party politics, speak up for Lucy or question this in any way. I have actually received some information on why this is, but I can't share that, unfortunately. Sorry, I know it's a bit of a tease, but I just can't. what can I say? I think in terms of it being elder statesmen, as you described it, when it's a very established MP, they may feel more confident about going against the system, about going against the establishment, about going against what would be considered received behaviour. I can't really say anything else about the why it's obviously the Labour Party are in power, so there's less. Typically, the opposition are the instigators and the originators of comments that go against the establishment or the established order because, the existing government, in a sense, has to defend it, I suppose, and that's just the way the system works. It shouldn't work that way. It absolutely should not work that way, but typically it does. So that's obviously a contributory factor. As to why, for example, Lib Dems, Green Party don't talk. I think a lot of it is just complacency about the criminal justice system, and they don't realise that it's not as good as they think it is. It's so sick. Frame Lucy must have seen the shift rate because statistics. If the case would be impossible, then Dr. Evans says it has nothing to do with statistics. All cases have statistics. So again, it's another example of the police just not following the kind of legitimate lines of inquiry. Yeah. I mean, all you can say is the police ballsed up the investigation completely. In my view, just mainly due to incompetence, almost entirely due to incompetence. But, there's nothing we can do about that now. We just need to deal on the situation as it is. I've been following stuff since before the trial, but try not to get obsessed. Now I think I've finally failed. Yeah, I think the thing is that, Deb, that you're probably a certain kind of person, and I think for a certain kind of person, it's just impossible to let this go because it's so wrong, it's so unjust. I think those of you that have daughters perhaps may, and particularly I think, if you have a child of adult age, you may think, what would it be like for my kid to think of the pain of watching your child go through being arrested. I mean, that thing of Lucy's mother, when she gets arrested, that guttural noise that she makes, it's kind of gone out of my brain a little bit now, but it'll never go completely because that scene was unforgettable. It was just awful. And I'm sure those of you that have adult children can imagine the pain of knock, it's the police for arresting you on suspicion of murder. Can you imagine? It doesn't bear thinking about. So I think once you're in a situation where you're a certain type of person, you learn of something of this magnitude of injustice, I think it's hard not to become obsessed or just very deeply interested, very deeply passionate. Yeah. What else can I say? So Pete had a Bertolli sauce with capers and black olives, which does sound bloody good, I must say. Someone may already have asked, but wondering who in Cheshire and Stanbury do you think decided to reply to the David Davis speech? So there will be obviously I'm speculating here, but they'll get together, they'll have a meeting, they'll say, we've got to say something, this is a high profile thing. And then they will have a media or PR department that deals with it, basically. Now, the statement they put out was barely literate, but, as I pointed out, they don't know what the word refute means for starters, but I think that, frankly, to be perfectly honest, they shouldn't even be commenting because this is parliamentary business in Westminster, and they're saying, "Oh, people are running a campaign." Yeah, in Parliament, it's none of your business. They're allowed to do whatever they want, as you well know. They've got parliamentary privilege. It's none of your business to comment on the workings of Westminster. It's none of your business to comment on anything that happens in London. It's your business to comment on what happens in Chester and Cheshire. It may be legitimate for them to say, we don't agree with what's been said about us. They're entitled to say that. But in terms of saying some people are running a campaign that's not fair, none of your business. Nothing to do with you. Your job, the campaign will be unsuccessful if it's proven by yourselves that you've done a good investigation. Unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult for you to prove that, isn't it? I heard a nurse in Europe was stitched up in virtually the same way and was eventually exonerated Good evening, folks. Good evening, Devon Tracy, our brave leader. Yeah, so obviously Lucia de Burke, or Lucia, I should say, de Burke, and there's Daniela Poggiali as well. Both people that there have been some other there's quite a few other nurse cases as well that are not as well high profile. There's one in America that never made court. Similar things are going to happen. It was thrown out of court. It's quite a strange one. But that shows you that the American system at that time was better, and I feel the American appeal system is better as well. To Claire Shot, Judge Goss, in my opinion, misguided the jury. Yeah, well, I think some aspects of the summing up and some aspects of direction are not ideal. I'll be getting into more of that in the future. I mean, again, there's so many things to look at. It's extraordinary. I've got more court transcripts to go through, so many things to go through. When I have a bit more time, I'll tell you, by the way, just out of interest, I've got a really big interview coming on Friday for everyone. So you'll be really excited to see this one, I think. I think definitely one of the biggest ones I've done so far. You know, I mean, I'm really grateful for all my guests, and they all give so much, don't they? So, but I mean, this is one of the best known people and one of a really prominent one. So I'm looking forward to putting this one out. So yeah, what I was saying was I've been really busy, so I did a bit of interviewing. I haven't been able to give YouTube my full attention, so I'm glad people have enjoyed the videos. I don't think there'll be any more interviews for a while, because when I do an interview, I have to arrange with the person. If I've not met them before, I usually do a pre-meeting so that they can get used to me, and I can sometimes figure out what I want to ask them. Then I have to do prep. Then, you know, so it takes a little bit of time. There's a bit of back and forth of correspondence. So I've got a lot of things to concentrate on over the next month. So a month from now, I will have signed everything off my book, and roughly a month from now. And at that point, then I'll be able to make some of the videos that I haven't had time to do. But I'll try and arrange for an interview. There's a couple where maybe I'll be able to do some repeats with guests that I've had before. That would be a good idea. That would save me some time. But I think for me to arrange for new guests after Friday for a while will be tricky. But there'll be probably be more new guests in the future. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Chris. Always watching from Italy. Lucy Letby must be freed and a good name restored. Thank you for everything you're doing for Lucy and for all of us. Well, thank you for following the case from Italy. It's good to know that it's made it onto the European mainland, and I do get quite a few viewers from Europe as well. Biggest countries are Britain, then Ireland. No, so it's Britain, then Australia, then Ireland, then United States, then Canada. But do get viewers from all over Europe. So really happy that you're watching from Italy. And if I knew some Italian, I'd say something in Italian, but I don't know any Italian, unfortunately. Evening, Denise. I don't trust the systems, Chris. You're right. They will say they're right up until the point they have to admit they are wrong. Yeah. I mean, this is just a normal practice. You know, I mean, I have a pretty skeptical view, to say the least, of inquiries. I mean, inquiries just usually, typically, you know, if they're not an outright whitewash, they're usually a pretty limited investigation that reveals nothing. So yeah, I mean, I'm not conspiratorial or anything, but I'm not a big believer in the system or in systems that manage us and manage society. We must remember there's always human beings involved, and as long as there's human beings involved, there'll be human error. That's just the way these things work. And I want to make a video, and again, this could be something I do in the next kind of week or so. Debbie Kennett actually pointed out a book to me that's very interesting. So I've been trying to read that book. Naturally, as you can probably imagine, that's been difficult. But I'd like to make a video about that book and about what it tells us about the Lucy Letby case, if I get a chance. But obviously, even reading the book has been tricky. But I started skimming a bit and looking into it. But it very much relates to this point about the system and people finding it difficult to admit that they're wrong. Good evening, all from my little mini holiday in Broadstairs. Hello, Cheryl, and glad to have you here, and hope you're having a nice break. The weather today was beautiful here. Actually, went out just wearing a t-shirt for my dog walk, which was lovely. It was just really nice to feel. It's funny. And I was never really a sunshine person, but I went to Croatia and I had an amazing time, and I fell in love with Croatia. And ever since I came back, I really, not that I get seasonal affective disorder, but when it's sunny, it has such a big impact on me that never used to happen before. I don't know why. It's very strange. I really wonder what is happening to the jurors in their hearts. They were terribly brainwashed. I wonder if this is negatively impact any of them. Well, it could be. Yeah, it's a very good question. We can but imagine and speculate. It would be surprising if none of them had revisited their opinions. But at the same time, you must understand that they will have a natural inbuilt resistance to believing that they're wrong, because otherwise they have condemned an innocent woman to prison forever. So that's something that no one would wish to admit to even to themselves. So that they may be very much wrestling with these feelings. I really couldn't say for sure. Donald Alexander, you're doing an amazing job, Chris. Any human that thinks Lucy's guilty now needs help from a psychiatrist. Yeah, thank you for the comment. I think very few do now. I think there's most of the people that still believe Lucy's guilty don't understand the case or haven't looked at the case, which is why, as I was saying today, we can't be complacent. We need to keep pushing and get it out to more and more and more people. Just trying to. I keep seeing the dog hair on myself. I've got most of it off, I think. It keeps been jumping on me. I think as more and more people see the detail. I mean, I cannot see how anyone could possibly, read my book from cover to cover with an even remotely open mind and think that Lucy is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Given that reasonable doubt should be a few percentage points, possibly 5%. It's more like the other way around. It's more like there's less than 5% chance that she's guilty. I say less than 1%. I think there's, I'm the only reason I don't say I'm 100% certain she's innocent is that I can't make that claim. I know that Ollie Buxton was Jolly Contrarian was saying you can't be 100% certain the sun's coming up in the morning. So I would put my certainty that Lucy is innocent as being approximate to my certainty that the sun will rise tomorrow. That would be my feeling, let alone reasonable doubt. And I've heard new information very recently, today in fact, that will be in my book that further strengthens that impression that you haven't heard yet, no one has heard yet, and what it's only a very small thing, it's only a very short thing, but it just further cements my faith that I'm correct. Not that I doubt myself at all, because for God's sake, I've been investigating this for 3 years. There hasn't been a single thing that comes up pointing to guilt. I've spoken to dozens of people. I've spoken to lots of people you've not seen on the channel yet that are in the book. I've held back some people. There'll be more people coming forwards. So, yeah, I mean, I have no doubt, none. When I say that, it's not literally none. It's like a tiny, 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 tiny fraction of 1%, because I won't claim to be 100% certain, because that's impossible. But as you rightly say, this is a comment was, I'm getting miles behind the chat today. I do apologise. I can't see how anyone could possibly think Lucy was guilty. I mean, I agree completely. Lucy knew where they were going with the 2019 interview. An innocent woman panicked a bit in description of her embolus and Facebook messages, which turned the police in that direction, Chris. Yeah, I think they'd already made their mind up by then, though. So They pretty much made their mind up in 2018, so I don't think there's anything she could have done at that stage, unfortunately. But I see your point. I pre-ordered your book on Amazon. Pity I couldn't have a signed copy. Well, at some point in the future, I hope to be able to do some signings. So there's no reason you won't be able to. I think you said you lived in Dorset. Now, I can't guarantee I'll come that far out, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm sure we can find a way for you to receive a signed copy if you really want one. In my opinion, you're having a great awakening. You're very spiritual and you're very connected to spirit. I'm grateful for the shape your awakening took, and I'm sure Lucy's too. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had that in the past. A few things have happened to me, which I won't discuss, but I definitely don't discount this at all. Not at all. I mean, I read a lot of books about it. I love the books of Stanislaus Grof, which I think I mentioned before, which are incredible. So I'm very interested in this topic. But regardless of whether the universe arranged for me to be involved in this in the extent to which I am, or whether it was just random chance, I owe someone something. So I feel like, as Joe's saying here, you manifested the opportunity to help Lucy. Great work all around. So, you know, maybe that's true. I hope it is. I mean, I know people engage in manifestation, and I do think you should, you know, try to think positively at all times. I mean, I will say, when I quit my job to become a writer, I'm reminded of this comment by Novak Djokovic. So Novak Djokovic was talking about when he was growing up in a war-torn society, etc., and he said failure just wasn't an option when he was talking about his tennis career. And when I quit my job, I'm not in any way comparing my situation to Novak Djokovic's, because his was much worse. But I just knew I had to succeed, and I just didn't make failure an option. So I guess I did manifest that. So it's an interesting aspect of life, I guess. Is Dewi Evans a malignant narcissist with a touch of dementia? I think he's perfectly compos mentis, personally. Other people have suggested there may be signs of dementia, and some of those people are very much more qualified than me. In terms of whether he's not a narcissist, I personally don't think he is. I think he's just very arrogant. I know there's a lot of overlap between the two, but I don't think he is a narcissist as such. He just thinks he's right about everything and cannot accept criticism and cannot accept that he could possibly be wrong about something. And that is not necessary. It may sound like indicates of narcissism, but it can just be a very rarefied form of protective instincts that we all have within us. So I'm not sure that he is a narcissist, personally. I watched again Jerry Ram's performance and his apologies at Thirlwell, his interview with his mate Paul. So obviously he has lied, along with those who received the Lucy called him email. So it certainly looks bad. I mean, I don't know if you listened to the Amanda Knox podcast this week, but when she revisited that in the episode, and it's bad. I mean, it sounds pretty bad for him. Let's be honest. It doesn't sound great for him. What's the news with the Sun? So I can't say too much about that, but just keep your eyes open. I'm hoping Chris will be doing some book signings after his book is released. So that's certainly the plan. I can't do a picnic, sadly. I explained why in a previous live stream. I thought it was a lovely idea, but unfortunately, it's just not feasible. But I hope I get to do some events. I would certainly be very willing to do that. I fear the panel's evidence could be brushed aside with the usual. It could have been used at the trial, but Sir David Davies highlighting all the procedural failures gives a strong path to appeal. I mean, this is a fear shell, of course. That's why public pressure is so important. If that public pressure wasn't there, and if there wasn't so much awareness and so much media, so much, etc., then I fear that would happen. I think Lucy has a fighting chance, and maybe even a good chance, because of the amount of coverage. That's why I'm emphasizing in my most recent video, we must continue with our efforts for as long as possible. We must just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we win, because it's it will take that effort. It will take that effort. If we don't do that, then they can use the excuse I would describe it as that you just mentioned. Dr. Evans comes across as being really dippy or a massive narcissist because he can't even admit he could be wrong. He's already changed one of the deaths. Yeah, so I kind of commented on that. So one of the interesting things about Dr. Evans is he's wrong until he changes opinion, then his new opinion is correct. It's described to me by one person as saying, if he said the weather's going to be sunny today and then it rained, it would be the weather's fault that it was raining, and that's kind of what he's like. But I don't think he's actually a narcissist. I think he's just very arrogant. Hi, Chris. You have amazing stamina. Well, thank you. I am actually quite tired, but I just keep going. I just literally just think, I don't think more than a day ahead. I just think, what am I doing today? I'm doing this. I'll do that to the best of my ability. Now I'll fall asleep. Wake up the next day, do the same. So I just do the best that I can. Hi, Chris. Was just finishing watching your earlier video, then realised you were on a live. Mervyn, that sounds interesting. Yeah, so people should check out the grievance documents, but seeing as people are interested, I'll almost certainly cover them soon on the channel. It seems like a very relevant thing to cover, so I'll probably do that sooner rather than later, so probably next week. Is Jonathan Moore joining you this evening? No, he's not, but he will be soon. I've discussed it with Jonathan already, and we're going to do one soon. But he's just been a little bit tied up over Easter. Cheshire Police statement after David Davis's speech is funny, trying to ruin reputations. Did that all by themselves and can't argue with Steve Watts since he wrote the book on procedure. Absolutely. One might wonder, why on earth would anyone wish to ruin the reputation of Cheshire Police? Firstly, they don't have a reputation. They don't have a public reputation. No one knows who they are, and no one would know who they were, and they wouldn't have any kind of public profile had they not put that video out on YouTube and then done the Netflix thing. That's the first thing. And secondly, why would anyone wish to ruin their reputation? There's no, similar to Lucy's supposed crimes, there's no motive. Like, in what way do I benefit, or anyone benefit, from the reputation of Cheshire police officers being diminished? It's just complete rubbish. Hi to Rachel, just pre-ordered. Thank you for that, Rachel. It's very much appreciated. The reason jury said guilty is because they were told Dr. Evans' bullshit is fact, and for that reason they found her guilty. Yeah, I think it's very, very clear that the court process was completely inadequate and unsatisfactory, and a big part of that was Dr. Evans' opinion being treated as fact. I tried to watch your video on Lucy's police interview about baby A, but I couldn't force myself to sit through over an hour of Lucy being interviewed by DCI Philomena Kunk. I can understand that. I mean, some of these things are not the easiest to deal with. It is awful, but the reason I did that one was just to show you everything Lucy said was correct. It's not even the case that she told the truth. I mean, she literally told them what happened on the unit. So they could actually just investigate that, and they would have found out everything she said was true, and they could have investigated on that basis. The issue is there's reams of stuff would have been available had a proper defence been executed. It's just not just the odd thing which has been missed, it's a glaring mistrial. Absolutely. Completely agree. The court didn't see enormous amounts of important information. So that is obviously a major failing of the process. It was obvious Lucy was innocent and was giving good faith answers, and that Cheshire Police had already decided she was guilty and just wanted a gotcha moment rather than getting to the truth. It does seem that way to me. But the police seemingly couldn't understand. But as I say, I think they pretty much decided. And certainly by 2019, the tone of their interviewing changes, and they'd already decided by that stage. So Lucy never had a fair crack when she was being interviewed, not at all. Could you have your book serialized in the Sun? It would reach a massive audience and bring greater attention to the miscarriage of justice. So it's a very good question. This will be considered, not necessarily the Sun. We don't, I mean, that's just an example, obviously. That's really up to my publisher, PR people, and to some extent, I will obviously be involved in decision making. One thing I can mention to you is that newspapers don't serialize books as much as they used to. So they're not as keen on doing it as they used to be. But it's not likely that my book will be serialized for various reasons, but it's not impossible. But it's something that we will discuss with the press or various publications as needed. Do you know if David Davis has already sent his complaint to the DPP, and how long might it take for the DPP to act? I don't know, and if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. In terms of how long it might take for the DPP to act, again, I don't know, but I doubt it's going to be quick. From what we've learned about the criminal justice system so far, it's a bit like wacky races. It's a bit like what's he called? Dick Dastardly Wacky Races always finishes last. That seems to be how the criminal justice system works. It seems to be a bit like the speed that Dick Dastardly performs at in Wacky Races. Although why he seems to have the best car. I mean, why he just doesn't race normally? I don't know. But I couldn't even begin to guess how long it'll take. Sorry, but I doubt that it'll be quick. But you never know. I mean, maybe they'll just. The problem more is that they're likely to just send some generic response, because that seems to be what everyone does. I won't rest till Lucy's free and Dr. Yeah, I agree. So someone's asked me about Beverly Allitt. So I'm not speaking about Beverly Allitt on this channel because I don't know anything about it, and it's not possible for me to speak. I also don't speak about the other nurses because I don't know about them. I did do a bit on Colin Campbell / Colin Norris because I know a bit about that case, or a fair bit about that case. So I thought it was reasonable. I don't generally talk about them because I've not investigated them. You may notice that Richard Gill made a few comments about Beverly Allitt, but I don't either endorse or disagree with those. I just don't know anything about her case. And I'm sure you can imagine, if I was going to speak about any other nurse's case, I would want to make sure that I knew it inside out, like I know Lucy's case. Have you had any direct contact with Liz Hull? No, I haven't. I'm doubtful that she would want to speak to me. Hi, Stuart. Good to have you here. Nick Johnson representing the police for inquests. Thoughts, Chris? So I should probably choose my words carefully. What can you say about someone who presides over this very unsafe conviction and then goes to defend the organisation that is on record publicly has engaged in an incompetent investigation? I won't say any more than that. I don't think I should. There isn't much positive that you could say about it. Let's just say that. It's smoke and mirrors, Chris. Repeated systemic reinforcement without any due diligence along the way. The Lucy Letby fiasco reveals depth of complacency. Yeah, I agree. There has been a total lack of due diligence all the way along the line, which is, it's indicative of the massive failings in the system. It really is. Just on now, Bohin interview, what is your view? She's delusional and ridiculously uninformed. Love for you to rip the interview to shreds. So I may do that. I have to tread a little bit carefully with that. Obviously, I could rip it to shreds. all I can say is that she made new. I probably will do it at some point. All I can say is that she made numerous assertions that are plainly wrong, just very easily provably wrong. But we'll see if I respond. I think that what I will say as well is that there was a lot of self pity in there. Oh, it's been awful. Oh, this, oh that. Woe is me. But then she put herself forward for these other cases. So she does presumably realise that she would have had to be the expert in court. So on the one hand, you're saying, "Oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair." Oh, by the way, I would have had to go in court for this other case. I mean, what do you think would have happened there? Do you think you'd have got an easy ride? I don't think so, because you'd have been up against 31 experts, and some of the cases were like tube extubations, and we think, we don't know, but we think that one of the cases with the third insulin case was very obviously a naturally occurring hyperinsulinism. So, what do you think that would have been like a picnic? It would have been stressful. So, I kind of find that part of it, ludicrous. But I may respond in full at some point. Yeah, I've been reading a book about the post office scandal. I see a lot of echoes of Lucy's case, the authorities and the system working together to cover up the truth. So you should check out my interview with Mark Maguire. I've forgotten the lady's name now. I haven't spoken to her for a while. Terribly sorry to her. Where I interviewed them, where they wrote an academic paper on the post office inquiry. That's a really interesting interview highlighting the parallels between the post office and Lucy's case. Yeah, I think I agree the police didn't understand what they were asking or what Lucy was telling them. I think I agree entirely. Let's just go a bit further down. Has Starmer forbidden criticism? I can't say for sure whether that's the case or not. I can't really comment on that. I don't know one way or another. But it's possible that this could happen, of course. But I don't. I know Keir Starmer was the DPP and all that, but I don't necessarily think that's as significant as people perhaps think, because I'm not sure it would be better with with a different prime minister and different establishment necessarily, different cabinet. Dr. Woods said the death came as a shock, saying there had been no concerns flagged at the start of the shift or baby A. Isn't that in itself an indication of substandard care? It does seem to be, yeah. But there's so many red flags of substandard care. They just, because Dr. Evans went in there and said, "Oh, I didn't see anything." I mean, that's just extraordinary, utterly extraordinary. I hope Dr. Evans is quaking in his boots. I don't know. We'll have to. I wouldn't wish to comment on that or speculate on that. Yeah. I'm sure that he is aware of the magnitude of what he's involved in now. Yeah, I agree with the comments on comparing Paul Hughes and Dr. Steve Watts. You see the massive difference in intellect, professionalism, and numerous other areas. They're very evident. Hughes was obviously promoted beyond his capabilities. Impossible to disagree with your comments there. But by the way, I might not carry on for 3 hours today because I'm like really tired. I just thought I should do a live stream, because I haven't done one for a while. I keep saying to myself I'll do 3 a month. That always seems really achievable and really easy to do, but I never manage to do it. But hopefully I'll manage to do it this month. So if I do 3, then you'll get 6 hours plus. But I probably won't carry on for 3 hours tonight because, I am knackered. I've got a feeling my brain is going to be fried after 2 hours. I've been busy today as well. Hi, Chris from Justin and Jelly. Hi, Justin. Hope you're well. So John's just saying Liverpool are 1-0 down. So for anyone who cares, it's Paris Saint-Germain 1, Liverpool 0. Doué has scored for Paris Saint-Germain. Go a bit further down. Yeah, I agree with Denise's comment. The thing is, the more you learn, the more you find yourself getting obsessed because you realize how much of a mistake this is. I think that's kind of inevitable. It is tragic. It's tragic that we can't turn back the clock, and the best we're ever going to be able to do for Lucy is get her out of prison, and we don't know what state she's going to be in. And then if you think about reformation of the criminal justice system, that could be very difficult. I mean, I hope it happens. We've got to push for it to happen, but we don't know what we can achieve in that department. But yeah, I wish I could just turn back the clocks and prevent all this from happening. I've written Lucy a letter. I told her, keep up your chin up, and many out there are fighting for her. I said she's welcome to write back, and I could talk about everyday things. So I don't think she'll write back in case something is leaked. She can't, unfortunately, trust you, but thank you so much for writing to her. I know that's helping Lucy. I know for a fact. So that's very, very much appreciated. Of your videos, which would you recommend is your favourite or memorable? Well, that's a good question. It's really difficult to answer that off the top of my head. Let me have a look at the list quickly and see some of the popular ones. I mean, I think the video that I've put on my homepage, Lucy Letby is innocent, or Why is Lucy Letby innocent? I think it's called. That's one I think is pretty good. I think obviously some of the interviews. I mean, for me, I feel really bad to single out one interview because I'm so privileged to interview all these people. But interviewing Jane Hutton was great because I didn't know what she'd be able to say, and she really laid it on the line in a way that I wasn't expecting. So that was a really memorable one. And people, I know the Panorama one, 200 Things Panorama Didn't Tell You, is one that people really liked. And some of the, maybe there's some others as well, but I mean, those are the kind of ones that come to mind, just looking at the list quickly. So I hope that's a good answer. It's not. No, Mervyn, you're wrong about the guest. I won't be interacting with that gentleman in any form. Being childless, not choice myself, I think Lucy's predicament is doubly painful for Lucy. So clearly it's going to be difficult for her to have a child, and that is awful. Maybe she could adopt or foster. Maybe she can still have a child. We don't know, but I hope that we can get her out in such a period of time it's not unfeasible to have a family. But of course, it's not like she's automatically going to go on dating sites, is it? I mean, she's going to. I mean, that's probably never going to happen, obviously. So it's going to take a certain amount of time for her to recover. So we don't know what the future holds for Lucy. Really, as much as we may wish to hope that she has a bright future, we just need to do the best we possibly can for her, and then let nature take its course, really. So I'll go a bit further down. If Lucy was trying for sympathy, why not mention her mum's distress? Why pajamas? I mean, it's just a stupid part of the court case, isn't it? It's so difficult up there when. I mean, I don't necessarily think that had a big impact on the jury. I don't know for sure. We'll never know for sure. But it's just the fact that they can use this line of questioning, and it's still cited. I mean, people in the aftermath would cite it as legitimate evidence and say, "Oh, she was lied. She lied about her pajamas." It's absolutely unbelievable. Do you think Netflix could be convinced the better story is the failure of the police, the justice system, and the NHS? Absolutely, there will be a Netflix documentary about this one day. It's just a case of when it happens. In terms of in the short term, if the police are even remotely sensible, they will have included clauses in their contract with Netflix to say you can't contradict us this time next week. So there'll be something baked into the cake to make sure they can't do that immediately, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. With a nurse marrying into royal family, could citizens appeal to her for help? So I don't know who you're referring to, actually. Is it... I don't know. I don't know much about the royal family. I guess so. I mean, the chance of a member of the royal family helping is pretty minimal, but you can try. I was on Twitch today, and a couple of people derided Phil Hammond because of his Lucy Letby efforts. I suspect they haven't looked into the case. That's interesting. I wonder what channel were you on, and why were they discussing Phil Hammond? And why were they deriding him? What a strange. I mean, that's very unusual for Twitch. But yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to get people who don't know anything about the case. That's fine. Let's go a bit further down. I just can't get my head around why Lucy's defense team did not do a better job of defending her. So many errors with the prosecution case. They had a difficult job, but they definitely made mistakes. It's really hard to say. There can be errors from the solicitor. We just don't know everything. I think there's so many things they could have done, but we also must acknowledge that it was a very difficult case to defend. They had a lot to deal with, and it was very difficult. But I do agree that there were mistakes. There's a comment about pre-ordering and VAT. I don't know anything about that. You can pre-order with Amazon as well. All I can say is that the publisher website has a special deal for hard copies, hardbacks that is like limited edition. It's proof for a limited number, so you can get a special price from them that's cheaper than it will be ever available at if you wish to order through there. But you can pre-order from Amazon if you wish as well. If we are talking about Dowie, he's early onset of dementia. I really don't think so. I don't wish to disagree, but I think he's absolutely compos mentis. I think he knows exactly what he's done, and that's why he's defending himself so thoroughly. Sorry for my bad texting. I suffer typewriters. Yeah. It's just one of those things. I always understand what you're meaning, Christine. Don't worry. Can I ask, do you genuinely think she could be set free? And if so, estimate reasonable date, 2029, 2026, what, when? I'm talking for real here. Yes, I think Lucy will be exonerated. I think that's inevitable. I think 2026 is completely unrealistic. 2026 is not entirely impossible, but unlikely. 2028 is more feasible. It depends on a few things. It depends on the timeline. It depends on when the CCR actually do something. Depends on the Court of Appeal timeline. Depends on what happens at the Court of Appeal. Depends on whether there's a retrial. But you'd be looking at anything from 2027 to 2031 if Lucy is successful at the Court of Appeal. And I mean, I'm very passionate about this case, but the idea of doing 5 more years of working on it, and even more if Lucy's unsuccessful, is not appealing necessarily. I would like to move on to other things, and obviously I'd like Lucy to be exonerated. So it's not nice to think that there could be many years to go, but at the end of the day, I'll be here as long as it takes, rest assured. Hi to CNOR, good to have you here as always. Hi to JD, thank you for the comments, much appreciated. I've just seen Lucy's advice to put a complaint in about the bullying and harassment by J.R. and Brary. Was given the documents to do this. Unfortunately, things went really bad for her. Yeah. I can see why she's putting the grievance, and I think it worked out well for her. What I think she should have done, as I've said, is go for constructive dismissal. It's a lot easier for me to say that than for her to do it, and I thoroughly acknowledge that. But she should have gone for constructive dismissal, and then she would have been okay, and you never would have heard from me. We would be having this discussion. Lucy would have been quietly let go, and I don't know what would have happened to her career, but she'd be a lot better off than she is now, sadly. Just pre-ordered your book, Chris. I mean, all of everything you do to help free, in my opinion, also an innocent woman. Every video, podcast, interview is informative and eye-opening. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. I really, really appreciate that. Very, very appreciative of the support and kind words. Let's go a bit further down. Maybe Liz Hall could serialize your book. I think she'd probably be fairly low down the list of candidates. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be serialized, but it depends on a few things that I won't discuss with you, because some of them are a little bit private and some of them are quite boring. so it's not the most interesting thing to discuss, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Similarly, I'll do any I'll do any interviews and stuff that I can. My only kind of condition is that if I'm going to appear on something, it's for me to be on my own, and it's my time for me to give my view. I'm not sharing screen time with anyone else, or not anyone that's certainly not anyone that's there to give an opposing view or anything like that, because they haven't earned the right to do that. So that would be my only stipulation. But hopefully I'll do some mainstream stuff. That's certainly the intention, and efforts are being made to ensure that happens. Let's go a bit further down. Thank you, Donna. It's a privilege to be able to watch your videos. Your attention to detail is outstanding. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'll keep them coming as long as people keep watching them. It's a real privilege to be able to put something out and know thousands of people will watch it. And I was going over some of my figures in the video today, and they're extraordinary. They're way beyond anything I could possibly have imagined, and it's still growing. So I'll just keep doing it. Go further down. Thanks, Chris. This was extremely good. Well, thank you for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. We love the live streams. Can you call your dog, put him on your lap so we can see him? So he was here. Kiko was here right at the start. It's a she, by the way. I'll get Keeks at the end. Keeks is... yeah, you're laying down, babes, aren't you? Her tail's going, though. She's not as tired as she was in previous weeks. Or she's not resting as much. So I think she'll come up at the end with a bit of luck. Pretty sure you said you won't make 3 hours in every 3 or more hour live stream today, was all of. I know, but I can't. I mean, I don't think I can do it today, but I'll keep going for as long as I can. I mean, the other week I ended up being on Mark's stream, and I really shouldn't have been on that, but I just happened to hear him talk, and he was saying, I need some help, and I thought I'll go on and help him, and then I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then it was the day the clocks changed, so that was 4 o'clock, and I do not stay up until 4 o'clock. Yeah, it's yeah, that was a mistake. It's absolutely knackered the next day, but anyway, I do my best. I had a border collie pose this New Year's Day, age 18, called Bob. Yeah, dogs are the best. Sorry. Chris is the GOAT. Thank you very much, Drips. Really appreciate it. Is Dewi Evans in the audience tonight? Did Stevie leave you at the garden path? I don't think he would be somehow. I mean, I tried to get him. I mean, I'd have him on the channel, no problem, if he wants to try and defend himself. Can't see that happening, can you? You can always trust men with sticky out ears, so know this from you, Chris. Well, I'll take that as a kind of compliment. I do. My ears are look. They're supposed to be like this, but that never happened in my genetic makeup, unfortunately. One of my favourites is Michelle Warden. Yeah, Michelle's is a good friend of mine. Got to know her quite well. She's brilliant. Very privileged to have had her on so many times, and she'll definitely be on again in the future. Don't worry. Good evening to all my favourite core group of individuals. Yeah, just a core. I think they were pushing it to say there's 6 people involved. I found the whole Netflix from the police disgusting. Yeah, a lot of people say that. And I think it was not in very good taste, to say the least. All your videos are amazing. Thank you, Gladys. I really appreciate that. Your interview with Dr. Do you know what? Now, it took quite a few months, but I reached a point where I worked out to do the audio so it doesn't go wrong. I can do the thumbnails quite well now. You get a bit more confident on camera and on in front of the microphone and so forth. So I think I reached about 4 or 5 months ago. I think I reached a level of competence where I can do all the basics reasonably well. So, like, I'm kind of happy with the quality of my videos now. Even though I'm not mega talented on YouTube, and I don't have the ability that you see some people do some amazing things. I can't do that. I can just talk and show and record my screen, and I do it reasonably well. I wish I could do the stuff that was in Botched, for example. But I know most of. One of the things is when I record on Zoom, the sound quality from my microphone seems to be terrible. But when I record other types of videos, it's fine. So people keep saying I should get a new microphone. I probably should, but I haven't got around to it, just simply due to being too busy. I will do it at some point, and then we'll see if it makes a difference. But when I record, like the video I recorded today, I recorded this microphone. It was sound quality was perfectly fine. So you have these kind of problems, and you think, why is that happening? There's no one who can help you. There's no one to turn to. You just have to try and work it out yourself. I did have a problem that someone on Reddit managed to solve for me, but broadly speaking, it's very, very difficult to do YouTube with my level of ability, because I start with nothing, no ability at all, and no experience. So I'm just doing the best I can, but at least I've reached a level of competence now. Your interview with Dr. Wayne Squire was my favourite. Her research means that there could be potentially hundreds of parents and carers falsely committed to killing children, which is painful to think about. Absolutely. Impossible to disagree. I did very much enjoy interviewing her, and this shaken baby syndrome is very worrying, of course. Given the depth of doubt now exposed, it would be minimally humane to release Lucy Letby now to give her a chance of having a life that included having children. Anything else is pernicious. Yeah, maybe she can come out on house release if the case goes to the Court of Appeal. I don't know if that is feasible. But yeah, she does need to come out of prison as soon as possible. The problem with court cases is that the information the jury is allowed to hear is controlled. In Lucy's case, it was controlled and manipulated. Even the narrative was totally fake. Yeah. Hard to disagree. I heard Ben Myers was involved in work trying to decrease length of trials. Could this have influenced his decision to offer defense witnesses or not to offer them? You're absolutely right in what you've heard. I'm doubtful that was the reason that he didn't put defense witnesses in court. I couldn't say what the reason was because I don't know, but I don't think that's very likely, because at the end of the day, his job is to defend his client. I pre-ordered on Amazon. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate it. It was just because Hammond was on a show being watched in stream, and some of the chatter said he wants the Letby case reviewed. Why she's been found guilty twice. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I I wonder what show he was on. Yeah. It's interesting that people still don't know anything about it, isn't it? You think by now they would actually, familiarize themselves with reality, but there you go. The doctors who jumped right in on Lucy's arrest, giving interviews, etc., are also very quiet now. Where are they? Good question indeed. I think they're not going to say anything ever again until they're required to do so, is the answer. Should we write letters to the Justice Secretary and HRH specifying a requirement for a royal pardon? You can try doing that. I mean, the likelihood of that happening is slim. But, by all means, give it a go. 2028 to 2031, just not fair. It's very hard on her because she will have been in prison for 8 years or at least 7 years by 2028. She went in prison before Christmas 2020. So, yeah, it's very unfair. She will have had 8 Christmases in prison. But I'm just here to tell you the truth. It's not completely inconceivable that she could be released before then, but I don't think we should rely on that. Are you planning Baby B and on video making a video about them according to police interviews? I do have police interviews for Baby B, I believe, so I will do that at some point, and I will cover this case and so on. The thought of her being in prison for another couple of years is absolutely awful. It is, but we just got to accept that and just keep fighting for her and fighting for justice. I absolutely love the videos with Michelle and Martin. Yeah, they're absolutely great. Just to give you a little, I haven't arranged for this yet, but I'm hopeful in the future that I'll do one with them both in the video at the same time. So there's a possibility that I'll be doing this soon. But I haven't arranged it yet due to having no time. We discovered the royal pardon thing is still current, just needs 2 signatures. It's possible, but it's not so much that it's not possible that it can't happen, but what's the likelihood of the reigning monarch saying we royal pardon Lucy Letby and that overturns the court? It seems pretty unlikely to me, but I'm not saying don't do it, but just seems very remote chance that would have any positive outcome. Oh, it's 2-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. Not looking great for Liverpool this season. This is their last chance. So, Camilla and Andrew got involved in the Madeleine McCann case, apparently. It's the only time any royals involved themselves in a criminal case. I did not know that. I know people mentioned talking about the royal pardon, someone talking about David Davis and Nadine Dorries. I just don't think there's any way that there's going to be a royal pardon. It would be such that they don't want the kind of publicity that would attract, in my view. Just my opinion, of course, but I just can't see that. I just can't see it. I just don't see it as feasible. But by all means, right, if you think it's going to help. I don't rule it out completely, but I just cannot imagine that would happen. I'm only here for Kiko. Yeah, I'll make sure we get some Kikos if I can. Kiko heard her name and she's looking at me like, why aren't you doing something for me? Why are you not doing something for me? She's just lying down there. She's lying on my dressing gown tonight. Do you think the defence should have put Paul Hughes on the stand to exploit the incompetence of the investigation and the theory that they investigated all possible leads and suspects? That's a very interesting question. The thing is that they could have done. They could have done, you know. They really could have done. It's probably outside the scope of the investigation. Sorry, not the investigation, the court case. I don't understand court. You know, this idea that we agree what we're going to say, we agree what we're not going to say, we agree what's I would just want to go hammer and tongs to win, and that's what Nick Johnson seems to do. Whereas the defence don't seem to explore numerous avenues that they could have. But I think it's a really interesting question of whether they could have had the police on the witness stand. Now that may have been viewed as a risky strategy, and also they didn't have as much information about the police as we do now. So these are all considerations, but it's a very good and interesting question. 2 border terriers here must be mad. Well, I hope your dogs are doing well. And someone else, Woody and Ziggy, says hi to Kiko. Keeks would love to play with them, no doubt, but she has to be the boss. So that's just the way she is. I think Kiko would have been a better medical expert than Dr. Evans. I tend to agree. I've just watched an interesting... I can't talk about that, sorry. I'm sure that was very interesting, but I can't talk about that topic. Hi to Cup of Tea with Poetry. Kiko says hello as well. I wonder why Sky haven't done a Lucy Letby documentary. Good question. Maybe they will. Maybe they will in the future. We'll have to see. I mean, I must admit, I don't subscribe to Sky or the football. I used to have the sports channels, but I don't have time to watch them, so it'd be fairly pointless. I'm trying to think about the last time I actually watched a live sporting event all the way through. It was quite a while ago, so I'm just way too busy. But I still watched little bits of the highlights and stuff. And I don't know what's on Sky nowadays. I used to like watching Sky Arts and stuff, but one of the things is when I used to do work, I used to sit in. I would have Sky Sports on all the time when I had it, and I would sit on my sofa, and Keeks would lie next to me, and I'd have the TV on. But she just can't handle that now. If she hears my voice, or if I'm working, she just has to lie all over me. So that doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. And she just will not leave me alone. Will you, Keeks? No. So yeah, I don't know what Sky. I've not watched Sky for ages, so I can't really comment on what they do. I don't know how many documentaries they make now, but they used to make some decent ones. So maybe they would in the future. I don't know. You're doing a great job, Chris. Thank you for all your videos. That's absolutely my pleasure. Very much indebted to my viewers for the support. Yeah, I know what you mean, Christine, about not being able to tie a border collie. You can't tie Kiko. I mean, she's not a border collie, but I think she's only in 2 states: asleep or awake. Like, there's no tiredness. That just doesn't exist. She will chase a ball for hours. I mean, I have to take her out twice a day, every day. So I will get up the first thing, take her out in the afternoon as well. And I run her into the ground, and she's still full of energy. She'll be sometimes I've run her into the ground. She'll come in and like chase her tail around. She's just very, 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 very energetic dog indeed. Should we write to Dave Lammy, Justice Secretary? You can certainly try. You can certainly try writing to him. In any capacity, whether it's for a royal pardon or just more broadly to ask him to look at the case. I expect it will achieve absolutely nothing, but at least you have written to him and made him realise that there are massive problems with this case if he doesn't realise that already. Someone's asking if there's any petitions. So you may have seen the refer the case to the Court of Appeal petition. That's on nearly 20,000 now. It would be nice if it was on a much bigger number, but it's hard to publicise it beyond what we've done already. It's very difficult to get publicity for these things, but if you look petition, refer Lucy's case to the Court of Appeal, that should come up. Let me see if I can find it now. I can put it in the chat. Yeah, here we go. That was easy enough to find. There we go. It's not inconceivable that Dr. Evans could end up as a defence witness on the case. No. So if Dr. Evans, I think if he'd have been the defence expert, you'd have seen him doing the complete opposite of what he did. I mean, I'm very confident of that. He would have put up an extremely robust defence. Let's go a bit further down. We're meant to be hearing from Thirlwell after Easter. How much longer will the CCRC be? I just can't answer that question. I can't answer either of those questions. I don't know when we'll hear from Thirlwell, and I don't know when the CCRC will refer. All I can say is that I would view my book as a kind of asset, hopefully, in putting a little bit of pressure on the CCRC to refer as soon as possible. I mean, if they don't refer this case, based on what I just heard today, it will be utterly extraordinary, indefensible. So they must refer the case, and they must refer it soon, clearly. In terms of Thirlwell, I just don't know when we're going to hear from them. They said after Easter, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? The royal family have enough going on without getting involved in the Letby case. Hard to disagree with you there. There has been a few fairly well publicised problems for them. Thank you, Chris, for the thorough update and sincere supporting Lucy's case. Leave the chat now, but you are another voice for her. God bless Lucy. Thank you to Marge Anderson for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm a Southampton football fan. We beat Arsenal, then beat Wrexham. At Wrexham 5-1, we had defo going up. That's really great, Christine. As you know, I'm a Grimsby fan, and we beat Man United this season, and we got to the fourth round of the League Cup, and we got to the fourth round of the FA Cup, and we did. It's probably the best season in terms of a cup performance since the 1930s for Grimsby. In the 1930s, we were one of the best teams in the country, reached the FA Cup semi-final. And here's an interesting fact you may not know. The record attendance at Old Trafford is still for an FA Cup semi-final between Grimsby and Wolves from the 1930s. I bet you didn't know that. Would King Charles need to do anything more than just sign a pardon document for a royal pardon? No idea. Can't comment on that. I just don't think this will happen. I know people would love to see that happen and see a silver bullet solution, but I just don't see it happening. Yeah, this is an interesting point that someone is making here. This is KC8139. When I watched Ravi Jairam in an interview with ITV, he appeared euphoric and not devastated, and this was my first red flag. That's very interesting. So I didn't see that at the time so much. Obviously, I've seen it since, and it's a very interesting reading that you've come up with there. Yeah, that's fascinating. Good, very interesting thoughts. Because I didn't follow the trial, I wasn't familiar with all these figures as much. So when I first started to investigate Lucy's case, I was very much catching up on the the facts of the case. So I didn't really have time to look at TV interviews with Dr. Jairam and stuff like that. I was concentrated on making sure I understood the case. So I didn't give them as much credence or as much attention as I could have done. I think it's a very interesting point that you raise. Yeah, someone's asked the same question about the defence. No, I don't. I think Dr. Evans would have defended Lucy thoroughly because that's what he does. We know that from previous cases. What about the Hereford MP and the Chester MP? Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile. What you have to understand is if you write to the Hereford MP and the Chester MP and they're not your MP, they don't have to write back. So bear that in mind, but it's definitely worth a try. Martin Brunt, who interviewed Felina recently, does a lot of work with Sky. Hopefully he might persuade them guaranteed ratings. Yeah, interesting. And if people want to write to Martin Brunt, that's worthwhile as well. That may be a worthwhile avenue to explore. With Goss having no prior formal medical training knowledge, do you think he was capable of fully understanding and summarising such a vast amount of medical information? No, absolutely no chance. He didn't understand the trial. It's very obvious he didn't understand the trial, but he doesn't really have to. All he has to do is sit there, make notes, and then read them out. I mean, it's not for all the fuss that everyone makes of it. The actual job that he practically does in court is not that difficult. The one thing that is tricky is that he has to deal with, he has to know the legal aspects of the case. So if someone breaks the legal regulations, he needs to be able to stand up and say, guess what? We need to do something about that. But I think in terms of being able to understand the medical aspects, it's absolutely no chance. Yeah, I can't say any more about the CCRC because I can't confirm what I've heard is true, and the murmurings, so I can't say any more than that. But all I want to say to people is we can't be just because they should refer the case quickly, and just because it's obvious that Lucy Letby's innocent, we cannot take that for granted. And I must reiterate that to people. We must do everything we can. And I don't want to mean to poo-poo this royal pardon idea. It just won't. I just don't think there's a chance that it will work. And that's all I can say. So someone saying here, my MP isn't interested. I've written to them about 5 times now, nothing. Well, I really admire you for doing that. Just keep trying if you've got the energy for it. I've mentioned this concept to you before. A person can't unhear something. Once a person has heard something, it'll be in their brain, particularly when it's very important. So you may be wedging this in their consciousness, and their private position as an MP may be very difficult from their public position. So please do bear that in mind, and don't think that was a waste of time. It may very well have been useful for Lucy. It's frustrating when you have information you can't discuss, but I appreciate your position. I mean, there's so many things that I haven't been able to discuss. Now, some of these are in my book, and some of them are not. But I obviously have to use discretion wherever possible, and I have learned I'm pretty good at keeping a secret as well. So it's important for me to do that. And I mean, it's not just me being difficult. It's also I just do things if they're in Lucy's interest. If it's in Lucy's interest to share something, I share it. If it's not, then I don't. I'm a Hereford fan, and we're definitely going down. Speaking of Hereford, it's incredible how many people in Hereford know nothing about Lucy Letby. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? But it showed people don't follow the news. People are in their mobiles, like, gossip. Well, there's so many things to do nowadays, isn't there? So many different things you can follow. I suppose that would be your explanation, but yeah, it does seem fairly remarkable. What division are Hereford in, out of interest? I don't think I've been to Hereford's ground. Liverpool have lost 2-0. What's the score in the other game? Barcelona 0, Atletico Madrid 2. Wow, that is a surprise. They had a player sent off. Barcelona have been looking so good as well. I've got a soft spot for Barca because of Messi. But yeah, they're going out. Pretty much, Atletico have always been a bit of a tough one for them, and they've lost in the Champions League a few times. Anyway, they're going to win the league, so it's not all bad for them. I knew one of the Busby babes in the Munich air crash, Kenny Morgans. Wow, that's really interesting, Christine. Thank you for sharing that. For people who don't know, the Busby babes were in the Munich air disaster. A lot of them died, sadly. Probably the most famous one who died is Duncan Edwards, considered one of the best players ever to play for Man United. Must have been very tragic at the time, enormously tragic. Is this nearly finished? Yeah, probably be finishing quite soon. My family and I are looking forward to getting copies of your book. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for people to read it. I'm sure the time will fly by for me because I'm going to be really busy. But yeah, I just appreciate all the support I've had. Yeah, so Goss has been given a new role in answer to your question. Is sort of overseeing the IOPC, which I think is extraordinary, really. It seems completely inappropriate under the circumstances, but hey, obviously he's happy to do it, and there's nothing that we can, nothing you can do about it. Is it nearly time for bed? Yeah, I'm gonna have some supper and then go to bed, I think, pretty soon. Quite tired. I read that the judge referred to Evans as a neonatologist in the trial. Is that true? Yes, it's absolutely true. He had to be corrected, which shows you how much he understood the medical aspects of the case. I've only just joined as I've been asleep all day. What a great day. Currently in hospital and just had my brother bring my laptop in earlier. Oh, are you actually in hospital yourself? Wow. I hope you're okay, Faye. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Let us know if you're all right. Glad you're being able to join. Wouldn't it be funny if Goss went against Cheshire Police? Yeah, it would, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Any updates on what will happen with the inquest? No, we just know Lucy's going to have representation. We don't know anything about this. It's not something that should be happening. It's totally wrong that it's happening. It's, you know, the coronial process to be being reviewed at this point seems totally wrong to me. You've heard Stephanie's comments on it on this channel. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Whether there will be further updates until they occur, we don't know. It's all just, I mean, that is a little bit worrying because there's no way the coroner should, the coronial verdict should not be changed. Absolutely not. But there's no updates. And we're just going to have to look out for it. Yes, good quote here. Someone once said, "Don't go to the British courts expecting justice. All you get is law," which sums it up pretty much perfectly, as far as I can see. I feel like you are teasing us with a book. Well, I'm sorry about that. There's no intention to do that. I share everything I can, and I'll share updates whenever I can. And I'm really looking forward to you having your copies and for it being released. It's going to be the most important thing I've done in my life. So I hope people enjoy it, if enjoy is the right word. Private Eye say in the recent articles that Thur will only publish the report if Lucy doesn't get referred by the CCRC or the convictions are upheld by the COA. Yeah, so I mean, Dr. Hammond would know better than me. So if he says that, there's a very good chance that he's correct. I can't comment any further. I don't know what Thurwell are going to do. I've got absolutely no idea. Some of my friends say experts found Lucy Letby guilty, so they must be right to educate them with this all. Well, so it's good to tell others about this. Spreading this with friends is just as important. Well, I'm glad you've been able to do that, and it's important as for anyone else to be able to do that because it's very clear that this is an unsafe conviction and a miscarriage of justice. The sooner more people can come online, the more this can be put out there, the better it is. So yeah, please do share wherever you can. More and more people are coming onto our side. There's going to be more and more happening in the future. So just keep trying. Yes, I'm in the hospital, Faye says. Waiting to go down for surgery on my gallbladder. Sleep isn't a choice. Pain meds are knocking me out. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Faye. Thanks for joining us. I mean, it seems like you've got much bigger fish to fry than this stream. So I hope everything's okay. Let us know in the comments of future videos that you got through it okay and that you're all right. Or if you can email, please do email. I don't know much about gallbladder surgery, but it sounds. I know if you have to pass, what they call those stone things. I forgot what they're called now. That come from your bladder. That's not very pleasant. So this doesn't sound very pleasant. So I hope that you're okay and that everything goes fine with the surgery, obviously. Was there a private eye article this week? I don't think so, as far as I know. Should we be trying to push for an inquiry into the police conduct as a separate issue to getting Lucy out? So this is unlikely to happen until Lucy's exonerated, because at this point in time, officially speaking, the police have done a good job. Although we obviously know they haven't done a good job, officially they have done a good job. So I think an inquiry into the police conduct will not occur until this is kidney stones. That's the one. Until this has been overturned. I wrote to my MP from Hereford, sent a reply stating there's a front bench member of the shadow cabinet isn't allowed to participate in backbench debate without permission from the speaker. That's a fair comment, and that is true. And we should be aware that these backbench things are usually very poorly attended, so that's nothing out of the ordinary. I've never seen a case where this many experts are calling the verdict unsafe. It is unprecedented. It absolutely is unprecedented. We're quite certain this has never happened before. And if this verdict is overturned, it will be the biggest sort of concentration of experts that has ever occurred in a court case, as far as we're aware. Dr. Hammond is a legend. I agree. I don't want to bother Chris with this request, but of course I'll type in my email address here as requested. Let me just check I've spelled that correctly. Yes, I have. So if Kate, that's from Casey8139. So just make a note of my email address, but also my email address is on. If you go to the homepage for my YouTube channel and go to the details for the channel, it's also in there. But it's just Lucy_Letby_analysis@mail.com. So please do drop me a line. I'll try to respond promptly, but I get hundreds of notifications, messages, comments, etc. now. So I just try and deal with them the best way that I can. But I'll be really interested to see what you have to say. Just drop me a line anytime and you'll receive an automatic response if you've contacted me correctly, and then I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hereford are in the National League North, currently in a relegation spot, but they won tonight. Good, glad to hear it. Well done. For all those past experts that have been discredited and we all know about them, do you think that will ever happen to Dewi Evans? I mean, he's discredited now. He's just not officially discredited. I mean, his discrediting is absolutely inevitable. I have no doubt that will happen. It's just a case of how long that takes, what happens, whether he's alive, etc., etc. Yes, I've actually reached the end of the comments now. So I'm going to leave in a bit because I'm very tired and another hour would be tough for me to do. Just to let you know, as I say, there's a really big... Yeah, someone said the exchange between you and Evans was bizarre from his side. He's just a very, very strange man. But he just did the same thing he did with Tried by Stats, didn't he? Where he tried to insult him. Like, just so immature, so juvenile for someone of his age. But, anyway, he stopped answering me now. I mean, I've slapped him down politely, so... just to let you know, and just to reiterate, there's going to be an important interview coming up on Friday that I'm really looking for you to seeing. And then I've recorded a big video on Child E that'll be coming soon. And I forgot what else I've recorded. Oh, that might be it. That might be, I'll have to record some new stuff as well, but I'll probably do the grievance procedure as well soon. So let's see if we can get Kiko. Keeks, are you coming up? Are you hungry for something to eat? Come on, come here. People want to see you. Come on your feet. Oi. Come on, move your feet. No, we've got a lazy Kiko. We've got a lazy Kiko here. I don't think you're going to be able to see Keeks. Recently, at the end of these live streams, she's been very, very lazy. She just can't be bothered to get up at the moment. So unfortunately, you're not going to see Keeks. But if you watch back the video when I put it online, it'll always take a few minutes for me to format. It might take 10, 15 minutes to go live or a certain amount of time because I have to format it. But if you watch the very, very start, Kiko is in the video at the very, very start. So that can be your Kiko fix. I couldn't. She's definitely not camera shy. She's having a very rare lie down when she's not pestering me. But yeah, thanks for being here, everyone. Really, really appreciate. And Faye saying she was bored. I'm really glad I've helped fill in your time, Faye, because being in a hospital bed is not always pleasurable. But thank you to everyone for coming. I really appreciate it, and there'll be more content, and I'll try to do another one of these in about 10 days. So I look forward to speaking to you all then, and thanks again.